should not be a precedent because this bill is 31 pages. And humility aside, I am just being magnanimous in continuing my interpellation, even though this 31-page document, I just saw it today. So this
Okay.
is me being one with the team, taking one for the team, shifting what I studied in the first bill and moving to the next bill. But it should not be a precedent, Your Honor, because this is a complex bill. This is not a two-page bill, Your Honor. So I need the assurance of perhaps the majority floor leader that this won't be a precedent. This will be very difficult for our other colleagues. Nag-effort lang talaga ako, Mr. President.
Although by Madam Senator Pia Cayetano, although by tradition we have in the past accepted the bills by substitution, and then we discussed the substitute
Yes.
bill.
No, Mr. President, I have no problem shifting to the substitute bill. I'm saying the precedent I don't want to happen is that on the spot,
To give
I
you-
am continuing my interpellation. Normally, you're given time to now study this new 30. This is a new animal, Mr.
Yeah, I understand,
President. This
Mr.
is a new
President.
document.
Yes.
A comma, a word, an or, and an and.
Ask for a
that's been
minute
filled.
suspension, Mr. President,
Yeah.
if I may.
No,
Mr.
yeah,
President.
no, we understand the point of
Yeah.
Lady Senator, and actually we can suspend consideration and.
Your Honors, I am willing to continue. I just want the commitment that
Yeah.
this is not a precedent.
Yes, Mr. President.
Nag-aral naman ako
True, Mr.
habang
President.
while there was something else going on earlier. So I am prepared.
And that's the reason, Mr. President, distinguished colleague from the city of Taguig and Pateros, that this representation asked that we suspend consideration, considering that I was also told today that the substitute bill was filed. So, Mr. President, it's an honest mistake, and that we are not even aware about it. And now we are doing our best to continue with the deliberation of the measure. And we appreciate the gesture of being a team player of our distinguished colleague.
And to be honest, Mr. Majority Leader and Madam Senator, we are at your pleasure. If you want to do this on Monday, we can do this on Monday.
No,
It's all right.
Mr. President,
But if you want to continue, we can.
I am okay to continue. I just wanted to put on record that let's not make it a precedent so
Yeah,
that
yes.
a case to case, like in this case, I am willing. I
Thank you.
am available. I am willing. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our distinguished colleague from Taguig and Pateros. So please proceed to the distinguished sponsor and the distinguished lady senator.
Oo naman. Pa-birthday daw, Your Honor.
Can I move for suspension, please, Your Honor?
Session suspended.
Ready? Are we, Mr. President, with
Yes.
the permission of the sponsor, may I start my
Yes, please
interpellation?
proceed, madam.
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you.
Mr.
So,
President.
just to be clear, Your Honors, the very initial part of the of my interpellation, I am going line by line. I actually, as I said, started my review with the original committee report. So, Your Honor can feel free to correct me if there has been a change in the wording, as I will be basing, like, I will now be asking question about the declaration of policies, and that's based on the original committee report. Later on, I had the chance to shift to the substitute bill, but my first few questions will be based on the text of the committee report, if I may proceed, Your Honors.
Yes, please. Yes, please proceed, Your Honor.
Okay, so I will proceed. So the declaration of policy states that it is the policy of the state to promote and maintain a robust electronic commerce, e-commerce environment in the country by building trust between online merchants and consumers. That's just me reading it. It goes on to say the state recognizes the value and potential of the digital economy to increase competition and improve productivity. So my first question, Your Honor, is can the sponsor tell us with this kind of declaration of policy to improve productivity, can His Honor tell us how does the Philippines fare in terms of digital productivity compared to other countries or even compared to our ASEAN neighbors?
Yes, we have statistics here on the in terms of our e-commerce, and we can see that we fall behind our regional peers despite retail e-commerce sales growth rate. So we have some numbers here, and we can furnish you, excuse me, with this. In
Okay.
terms of internet penetration, we're at 74.2%, and that's one of the lower numbers in Asia. Also, cross-border percent of total sales with 24. E-commerce revenue in US dollars is 7.5 billion. Yes, and also online percent of total retail is only at 2%. So these are just some numbers about, and
Okay.
in comparison with other countries where
It's
we
low.
see it's in Malaysia you have 10% online retail percentage. In Thailand you have 8%.
Sorry, I'm trying to follow. What was it in the
In
other
sorry,
countries?
just to cite some examples of some other countries. In Malaysia you have 10%.
For what? For
For
what item?
online percent of total retail.
Okay, so
Yes.
2% versus 10%,
Yes,
no, for
and-
Malaysia. Okay.
Yes, and for instance, in the same category, online percent of total retail, Thailand is at 8%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I understand this correctly, and also for the benefit of those who follow our deliberations? This figure that you're mentioning is online percent of total retail. So in the Philippines, 2% of total retail is 2% total retail. For total retail, 2% is online, and that means 98% is brick and mortar. Ganun ba yun? Do I understand that correctly?
Is it all brick and mortar outside? Yeah. And the rest is brick and mortar. So is that other particular?
Well, it's not online. So more if that's how we define brick and mortar, more or less, I think most retail is really brick and mortar if it's not online. So yeah.
Sorry, I didn't.
The answer, yes. Yes.
Okay, okay. So in other words, in Malaysia, 10% is 10% of their total retail is online and 90% is brick and mortar.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to understand. Is there anything else His Honor wanted to share on this?
No.
What does internet penetration mean?
Number of people who
Use.
utilize the internet. Yeah.
Use, not necessarily for online purchases, just use. It could be research, it could be Facebook.
No, ito nga. It's just usage. When you talk about e-commerce, that's different.
Okay, so just total
perspective.
usage.
Yeah, just total
Okay.
usage.
Kasi I thought parang isa tayo sa mga Facebook capital of the world. So, mababa ba yung 74? Is that, or that
It's-
one is high?
Hindi, medyo, but not by a lot. I mean, just to give, and again,
Yes.
for internet penetration, just so we have a context. Sa Malaysia, 82.3%. Sa Thailand, 79%. Sa Vietnam, 77%. So,
Okay, okay.
hindi naman malayong malayo.
Yes.
But,
I think that's I thank His Honor for explaining this, because I think these numbers can show us a few things, no? Mababa talaga tayo dun sa percent of online to total retail when you compare it to at least the two other countries that His Honor mentioned. But in terms of internet penetration, it's not that low. In other words, gumagamit naman ng internet, pero baka Facebook lang lahat, 'di ba? Not so much for the online sales. So that's where that I would assume that's the basis for saying, for the declaration of policy, that the goal is to improve productivity. Kasi we will now give access to people who are selling their goods normally brick and mortar, sa tabi-tabi, sari-sari, sa palengke, in their own homes, well, not homes, but wherever they can reach customers. We're now saying that let's do it digitally. Let's help them become more productive digitally. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. As you can see, according to the numbers, internet penetration is not that much higher than in other countries. I mean, the other countries are not that much higher than the Philippines. But if you see what we mentioned earlier, online percent of total retail, medyo malayo. So that is correct. The people are using, but they're not using it for e-commerce. Hence the need to maximize our potential for e-commerce in our country.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. And then I will just read some other important phrases here in the declaration of policy, which I will tie up later on when I ask questions on the other provisions. So anyway, the declaration of policy goes on to say, to achieve these goals, thus the need to establish secure and reliable e-commerce platforms with appropriate transparency and utmost efficiency to encourage the creation of new products, services, business models, and processes. I'm fine with that, Your Honor. I would just like to tie this up later on to ensure that the policies we are now recommending by virtue of this bill will be consistent to the declaration of policies. I'll do that as we go along, Your Honor. But here, again, there is a provision at the end of this paragraph that says, okay, it's a long paragraph, but let me just read it very fast, and then I'll slow down in the part that I would like to discuss. Towards these ends, the state shall ensure effective regulation of commercial activities through the internet or electronic means to ensure that consumer rights and data privacy are protected, innovation is encouraged. Ito na po yung importante for me. Fair advertising practices and competition are promoted. So, fair advertising practice and competition are promoted. Online transactions are secure, intellectual property rights are respected, and so on and so forth. Last point, where product standard and safety are observed. I have a couple of questions specific to the last few lines. When we talk about advertising practices, does this include accuracy of claims being made? Dito ba pasok yon, yung parang truth in advertising?
Yes, of course, yes. That includes the truth in advertising.
So
yes.
again, later on, I will look for the provisions to ensure that we can really make this a reality. Itong truth in advertising, itong fair advertising practices, no? Because I like His Honor recognizes, yan yung objective niyan. And this is just a statement without the very specific provisions that will give life to this statement. Wala naman tayong mahahabol sa kanila, no? So I will look for those provisions. I will ask His Honor for assistance later on to look for those provisions. On that note also, paano kaya yung, aside from yung just truth in advertising, but yung parang science, parang claims that are based on science? Because I also, my go-to social media platform is Instagram, and I follow influencers who have strong academic credentials in the areas that they're speaking of, no? So I wouldn't ask a nutritionist how to run their car or how to build a skyscraper, but I would listen to somebody with a master's or a PhD in nutrition or health when it comes to nutrition products. So kasama ba sa objective din natin, and His Honor can answer it now, or we can wait for the proper time when I get to those detailed provisions, yung who will determine kung accurate yung statements nila, or will that be part? I know there's a provision on
The e-commerce bureau.
It's not resolution.
I don't think I don't think it falls under the resolution of yung resolution of dispute resolution, because it may just be another consumer who'll say, parang mali naman yung kiniklaim niya. And can we show it now? I have videos, I have photos. So like, for example, and His Honor knows, our colleagues know, I have been very vocal about my concern with the proliferation of vape products that are targeting kids. Well, guess what, colleagues? Now, there's vape products with glutathione in it, and collagen, and nashock talaga ako eh, may ganyan na pala. Vape with glutathione and collagen. Mr. President, tingnan mo naman,
Dapat,
it's not...
Dapat itanong natin kay Senator Cheese yan. Baka may alam sa...
Mr. President, I will move on. Vape with glutathione and collagen. So first of all, I know that there are health experts who would even say that glutathione is FDA approved for certain uses. You cannot use that product for another purpose. And again, I don't even know what use it's FDA approved for, but even the form in which it will be used, so it's a pill, it's a lotion, injectable, whatever. I don't even know which one is approved. But I'm certain there is no vape approved. And it is here. So, yan yung tanong ko. Litong-lito na nga ako eh. Binebenta ba to para masarapan ka dun sa ini-inhale mo, para pumayat ka, para pumuti ka, para sa... Hindi ko na alam what it's for, Your Honors.
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor, for that question. In Section 18, with regards to the obligations of the online sellers, it's clearly stated, and I think this is one of the reasons why we need the bill. Precisely why we need the bill is to give teeth to our Department of Trade and Industry and the E-commerce Bureau. It's clearly identified in the bill that in Section 18 to clearly identify any promotional offer, any discount.
18 letter what? Please?
Sorry, Section 18A,
A.
3. Yeah.
Okay.
Clearly identify any promotional offer, including any discount, premium, or gift. Ensure that any condition which was met to qualify for it is easily accessible, presented clear. Sales and promotional offers shall have the necessary permit as applicable with the appropriate government agencies. So aside from that, all the merchants online will also be required to register. So, not as of now, not all of them are required to register the address, information, and I think that's something very relevant. Now, in addition to that, should there be any infraction committed by the seller, the DTI has the power to take down the site or the website that is selling these products. So I think that's very important to give in cases like this, where, for instance, well, I don't want to make any judgment on those products, but
I think we can judge, Your Honor.
well, okay, yeah.
Your Honor is being very kind, but I think we
Yes.
can judge.
But should there be any products that are deemed as are found by the DTI to be in some way that do not conform to the requirements as set forth by the law, they can be taken down immediately by the DTI. So that power is something enshrined in the law.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate the explanation. However, I would like to point out that the section His Honor mentioned, 8III, I don't think that's the proper...
18 triple I.
18, section
Yeah.
18A III. I followed, Your Honor, when you pointed
Yes, yes.
out, I read it. It says clearly identify any promotional offer, including any discount, premium, or gift, etc., etc. But I don't think, Your Honor, this provision captures the situation I am concerned about. This section only refers to a promotional offer. A promotional offer is a discount. It means a promotion. This does not cover just an ordinary
But
sale.
also, if I can add, Your Honor, also in Section D, Section D.
D.
Of
Okay.
I'm sorry, Section 18, letter D.
D.
D as in dog. 18. 21 ba yan?
Yes, letter D, shall not allow the sale of
sorry.
regulated goods.
Sorry, my fault. It's Section 21. Is it Section 21?
The sub-bill natin.
Excuse me.
Actually, Your Honor is correct. It's the letter D is more relevant.
Yes, the e-marketplaces and other digital platforms shall not allow the sale of regulated goods such as, but not limited to, chemical, food, and drugs without requiring them to provide their permits and license information and contractually obligating their compliance with sales procedures and limitations and other relevant conditions for the sale as may be imposed by any law or government or local government regulation.
Yes, that's the relevant provision, Your Honor. And maybe at the proper time, we can improve the wording to just be consistent with other existing laws, such that it's clear that if it is required elsewhere, not online, in other words, to have the proper permits, it should also have the proper permits.
Yes, I agree.
Gusto natin mangyari, Your Honor.
Yes, we're open to those suggestions
you.
and possible amendments.
Thank you. So I will go back. So I'll go back to the declaration of policy. And for the record, Majority Floor Leader, Your Honor, I'm willing to continue until it's time to stop. So just tell me, because in the interest of
Just a
as much
reminder,
as
we have an
can.
appointment.
Correct.
All of us have an appointment.
Correct.
In about 15 minutes.
Yes. So
We have to leave.
yes,
The dinner party of Joel Villanueva
And-
is hosting.
actually,
By the President, Mr. President. That's my story and I'm sticking with it, Mr. President.
That's correct.
I actually had one bite of the other meal there and had to come out. So if we can end in 12 minutes, I can have 3 minutes to eat
We can
that
end in
meal.
10 minutes, madam.
No,
10
so
minutes, 10
I'm
minutes.
saying, Your Honor, I will go on until you
Yes.
tell me to stop. I will try to
Okay.
cover as much. So let me proceed. And then my next question is, for DTI to cover all this, to ensure that this entire declaration of policy is materializes, no, by way of very clear provisions and enforcement. I haven't gotten to the end of this bill, but are there specific budgetary recommendations?
It's 1 billion. Here's the budget. There's a provision.
Yes, there is a specific, I will retrieve it from the bill, the exact, but there is a provision for how much the
Okay.
initial budget that will be given.
Di ba 1 billion?
I think it's just a provision that refers to the GAA.
Yeah. Ito may 1 billion. Pasok.
Yeah, because section 34 of the of the substitute bill just refers to the necessary amount. So that's what we wanted to know, because we will support, Your Honor.
It's here in section 34, which
Is
very basic. It basically states to carry out the provisions of this act. The amount necessary to carry out the provisions of this act shall be included in the General Appropriations Act. So it's a very
Yeah, so
a brief but general.
yeah, it doesn't tell us anything, Your Honor. So what we'd like, because we would really like to support this, is for DTI to give us, not today, but at some point during the deliberation, a breakdown, because this is a difficult job and we really want it to be done well. We want to be able to give all the support that we can. So sana mabigay. Meron na ho ba?
Yes, but they do have a breakdown, just for the information of Your
Okay.
Honor. They do have a summary breakdown of the 2024 proposed budget for the E-commerce Bureau.
Okay.
It totals 350 million, and it includes an MOE, 261, and personnel services, 74. And
So that's basically for the Bureau, because the
Yes.
Bureau will be the one to handle.
the
Sige.
E-commerce Bureau, yes. So basically about 350 million is their initial recommendation.
We'll park that and then I'll dissect it a little bit more later to ensure that DTI really has the support it needs, because we really want this to be a success, Your Honor. I'll move on, Your Honor. Again, for clarification, but I think this is in section 4, if I recall correctly, we are only covering business to business and business to consumers, correct? And
That
not
is correct,
consumer
yeah,
to
Your Honor.
consumer. Yes.
Yes.
So there is a definition of consumer to consumer in section 3E. I'm still looking at the committee report, so just correct us if there's a change in definition. Consumer to consumer transaction refer to one-off, petty, or occasional occasional, low-value transaction of an individual or group of individuals with another that are not made in the ordinary course of business of any party to the transaction as may be defined by the guidelines. So I have an example, Your Honor. When I graduated from law school, and was awaiting the results of the bar, my friends and I decided to clean up our parents' house. Take note, it's not our house, but our parents' house, and sell what we deemed was not needed in like garage sales. And that's kind of, it was a thing.
Yes.
So yung ganun ba, considered yan consumer to consumer? Eh, paano kung merong mag-platform na yun sila si garage sale? I don't know the answer now.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing examples.
Yes,
not
I
to
think,
be
I mean, of course, but I think in that particular case, it's not something that's, when you look at the definition of, let's say, when it's something that is
Not-
repetitive, so when you talk about, let's say, I sell my garage sale, so, garage sale or something like that, obviously I guess that really falls under consumer to consumer, because it's not a repeating transaction. It's just a single transaction, person to person, and that's not what this act is looking to regulate.
Okay, that's good. And for the record lang, nagbago pala yung definition ng consumer to consumer na sa ating substitute bill. It's now refers to isolated transactions of an individual or group of individuals
Done per personal.
with another individual or group of individuals done for personal, family, or household purposes and not done in the ordinary course of business of any of the parties to the transaction. I think it means the same. I think the language was just professionalized a bit.
Yes.
So thank you, Your Honor. I'll probably think of other examples because I just like to ensure, I know from experience that the implementing agencies are guided by the debates that we have on the floor. And that's the only reason I'm, thinking of examples, asking His Honor or his resource persons from DTI for their own examples, because we want to be sure that clear itong objective natin for what exactly is the scope of consumer to consumer. So I'll give another example. What's that site? My kids use the site. I think it's Carousel. where
Carousel.
You can sell your secondhand pre-loved items. So the seller on Carousel and the consumer will not be covered, no? Kasi parang consumer to consumer, but the platform is covered, correct? Kasi si platform, yan yung business niya.
Yes, that is correct. The platform is covered. It's considered, it's by definition, it's not an e-retailer, it's an e-platform. So if the seller is not repeat
Yes.
seller, he's
Well, I don't know about the word repeat kasi what if nagsispring cleaning siya every year, did every year repeat siya, but I would still say it's still a consumer to consumer.
yes.
So, because I think the key word there was that it is not done in the ordinary course of business, and it is
Yes.
more for personal or family purposes. So, I believe there's also a similar platform like Facebook Marketplace. So again, the people selling there are considered consumer to consumer, and then but the Facebook Marketplace itself is a platform that has to be regulated as
As an e-platform, yes.
as an e-platform, correct? Okay.
Yes.
So again, really, I'm just trying to think of different existing transactions that we can properly file. We at least it's clear moving forward. And the thing is, Your Honor, the truth is, this will innovate. It will keep changing. So it's good that at least with the examples we gave, if it's similar, then it's covered. And if it's not, there may be reason to have another law, an amendment. Sana hindi naman ganun kabilis, but we have to be prepared that might happen.
Yeah, I agree. This is new territory, the ITA for internet transactions, and that's why it's good that we're debating now, so we can think of every possible scenario. And I'm sure it will continue. It's a market that's continuously evolving.
Since, Your Honor, my objective in bringing up the example was to define the consumer-to-consumer transaction. But in the course of that discussion, I put it out there that what do we now call those platforms that provide that that host, no, that parang host that exchange between the consumer to consumer. So I'm now looking at the substitute bill, and there is a definition in L subparagraph I that e-marketplace refers to an online intermediary that allows participating merchants to exchange information about products or services, to enter into an electronic commerce transaction which may or may not provide information services about payment and logistics. So are we clear that the example I gave, like carousel, falls under that?
Yeah, yes, because it's exchanging, yeah, it falls under the definition because when you talk about the exchange of information of products, it's more of like it connects two sellers, but it's not directly selling. It's not a direct retailer. So that would fall under a e-marketplace.
Kasi, Your Honor, yeah, it's okay. In the committee report, letter N, there is a different definition of e-marketplace. And there was a mention of specifics, no? I mean, they were named eBay, Amazon, Shopee, Lazada, Carousel, yun, nabanggit nga si Carousel, Facebook, Marketplace, Instagram, and TikTok, among others, whose business is to connect online consumers and online merchants. Parang maganda yun na may ganun yun. Kasi parang medyo, for me lang, Your Honor, parang medyo lumabo yung definition sa, sa substitute bill. So, again, I'll repeat,
Yes.
in the committee report, yes, Your Honor, did you want to say something?
Yes, actually, we to a certain extent we agree, but I guess we don't know in the future should these businesses change their business model. It would still be in the law, but they might not have the same not have the same business model further down the road. So it's up for debate, but that's the reason for taking the specific names out, is so that in the future, should any of these companies change their business model, it will not be specifically mentioned as an example in the bill, in this law, in the ITA law.
Okay, I don't mind, Your Honor, if the objective, you're absolutely right. A lot of these these household names have changed their models. No? So it's not that we can just put it on record na as of this era, 2023.
Perhaps we have to specify, yes.
Yung negosyo ni Lazada ngayon, yun. Kung ano yung
Yes.
negosyo ni Carousel ngayon, yun.
Yes.
But may I just ask His Honor to take a look at the definition, because I do like the wording, whose business is to connect online consumers. Parang medyo clear na clear po yun eh. Mas clear yan sa akin eh. And then yung to facilitate the online, I do like that language. Again, at the
Yeah,
proper
that's,
time,
yes.
again, I'm just giving His Honor heads up that seemed to be it seemed to be clearer.
Yes, Your Honor, that point is very well taken, and
Okay.
I think that-
Your Honor, the birthday boy is asking us to continue the party in the other room, Your Honor.
Mr. President, we cannot keep the president from reading.
Oh, naman.
Yeah. Yes, no problem.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm happy to continue on Monday. Thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Colleagues.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 1846. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, motion is approved.